Look, the last place you want to be is sitting there almost forcing somebody to pretend that they care about you. The last place you want to be is to act like you gotta put a gun in somebody's head or pull somebody's teeth or twist their arm behind their back to get them to show you the affection that they showed you whenever they first got your attention. And essentially started wasting your time. Put I down in the chat if you've ever dealt with a guy that you was minding your business. you was good. You was on your social media. You wasn't bothering nobody, and he stopped you from what you was doing. He came and jumped in your DMs. He wanted to get your attention. He wanted to get your number. He wanted to stop you while you was in a bar, club, a library, the grocery store, whatever. And then after you finally said, all right, I wasn't even trying to date. I really ain't that excited about you, but I'll see where this goes. You seem cool. You putting forth some effort. And then after you gave him some of your time, after you finally opened up, he started wasting your time. He became an instant regret. Put I down in the chat if you've ever dealt with that before. I know it's late. I know it's late. But we're going to get really real tonight. I want to know if I'm talking to anybody. Put I down in the chat if you've ever had a guy waste your time that you would have been just fine never giving him to begin with. Let me know if I'm talking to myself. Because what I've noticed, and I really wanted to jump on here before I wrapped up tonight, not just from those of you who watched my last masterclass. By the way, for those who are on Facebook, you may be seeing the link already. I'm going to go ahead and post it because a lot of y'all are asking how can you get access to it before it comes down. And I'm posting it right now. But at the end of my masterclasses, I always do a Q&A. At the end of this Q&A, this young lady asked me, D, how do I know if a guy really likes me? And my answer, first off, before I even give an answer, I always ask questions because I want to know, like, where are you coming from? What are the specifics? I don't want to just ramble something off the top of my head. But the biggest indicator that a guy really doesn't like you is if you have to doubt it. If you've been in this man's presence, if you've been talking to him and you have to doubt it. Now, you may not like the guy. You may not like how he's showing it, but there should never come a point where you're wondering if he likes you at all, if he's invested at all. But let's just say, for instance, let's just say you're one of those. Y'all are both kicking it. You're hanging out, having some good times. He's laughing whenever you laughing. He's attracted like you attracted, and you feel like you may be a little bit more invested in him. Again, the moment you start having doubts, that tells me you're probably in the wrong situation. Because one thing about any man when a man wants to secure a woman in his life, he removes all uncertainty. He removes all doubt. He doesn't leave any room for you to question whether or not. It's just like if a man is trying to be tough guy, or what does he do? He tries to give every signal that he's tough guy. He's to be respected. He's nothing to play with. So if a man is dealing with you as a woman and he's trying to come off in any way nonchalant, not really tripping on you, you know, maybe he got time, maybe he don't. That man is leaving a lot of room for doubt, which tells me he doesn't have as strong of a conviction as he should have for making sure you have zero uncertainty or doubt about how much he cares about you. Because if he wanted to remove that doubt, he knows how he would do it. And let me be just all the way real with you. Be very mindful about that whole busy thing. Be very mindful. That's one of those things that I consider a guy will leverage because there is some blurred line. There is some ambiguity when it comes to an ambitious man. So this is what I would call reverse gaslighting. And I talk about this to my students, but I'm going to give y'all the game real quick. What a dude would do is he'll use what it is you want in a man. Ambition. Let's say that's the case. You want ambition in a man. He will use that against you. And how he will use that against you is, you said you want an ambitious man, right? You want a man who's focused on his purpose, right? You want a man who's always, got his head down and grinding and making things happen, right? And so after he gives you one impression that he has all of his time for you, you're all of his priority to him, after the fact, he'll use what it is you revealed to him that you want in a man against you. So now he's going to gaslight you into thinking this is what you want in action. So if you walk away from me doing exactly what you said that you wanted, then you're the problem. Y'all ever had that happen before? Y'all ever had that happen before? You tell a man, I want a man who is assertive. I want a man who is focused. I want a man who is blah, blah, blah. And it's like in his mind, he took mental notation so that later on, as he started breadcrumbing you, as he started neglecting you, as he started withdrawing and shutting down from you, he already had how he was going to integrate what it is that you needed and what it is that you said that you desired in a man into his excuses. You see, if he just gives you excuses, they ain't really got no power. They ain't really got no leg to stand on. But if he integrates what it is that you revealed to him that you want in a man, now you have to battle against yourself. You have to debate against what you said you wanted. If you're not careful, if you're not using your discernment, your intuition to say, no, that's not what it is. That's not what I meant. That that's not what I meant. And matter of fact, I wouldn't even go that far, to be honest with you. I wouldn't even go down that road of that's not what I did. No, that's the game you playing. Let me go ahead and remove myself. That's the game. That's what you want. That's the frequency you on. You wanted an assertive man, right? But that don't mean that you wanted to be voiceless. That don't mean that you didn't want to be able to have any type of say so in the decisions and where you guys were going to go. Like, that's what you want. Sometimes you can get your time wasted because you're in the wrong sport. You're in happily ever after. He's in playing your face. Those are two completely different sports. You in happily ever after, you're straightforward, you're transparent, you're honest, you're integral. You're not perfect, but you're accountable. And he's in playing your face. He's in use what you said against you. He's in act like he ain't just do something right there as you saw him do it, and then gaslight you into thinking it was something totally different. That's what sometimes you waste your time because you're trying to be the best or you're trying to win at a game you have no business even being in. Sometimes, even though it feels like you're losing, you have to forfeit if that's not your sport. If you are LeBron James, if you are Serena Williams, you have no business going over there and competing with Michael Phelps. Leave him to drown in the dating pool of piss while you go over here and you score points and win championships and Wimbledon trophies with somebody who's playing that sport. I know it's late. I know I'm kind of, I got to say it how I feel it. I got to tell it how I see it. Sometimes you can get your time wasted because you recognize that somebody's playing a game that you ain't even supposed to be playing, but then you get involved and you try to win. You know what? When two people are arguing or whatever, people from a distance can't tell who's who. When the puppeteer and the puppet over here are, people from a distance can't tell what's what. They can't tell. And the long story short of that is, one of the best ways to keep your time from being wasted, one of the best ways to keep from being in a situation where a man is more invested in you or feeling like he's more invested in you, is to recognize when a man is investing in something that you have no business putting stock in to begin with. Now, back to the part where we're talking about the whole I'm busy excuse. I'm busy. Let me tell you something. If you are a priority, and not just you, but what that man is building with you as a priority, there is no I'm busy. And this comes from a busy man. Y'all see, it's late right now. I'm over here. I'm giving y'all the game from a big brother perspective. I know what it's like to be busy. But the only reason why I'm going to be too busy for something is because in all actuality, I can't see how it integrates into my life in a way that I find valuable. I don't see it. Don't mean it ain't possible. But what that means is for you, if you're dealing with a man who's constantly giving you the I'm busy, I just got a lot going on right now, I just da-da-da-da-da. The truth of it is, this is how you decode that. He does not see the value of you being in his life, whether it's just for a season or period. And if a man doesn't see the value in you being in his life, why are you still there? Why are you still there? I hope this is making sense to somebody. I know it's late. I know y'all tired, but at some point you got to get tired of going through the same old same. When you're dealing with a man who has a litany and a laundry list of all of these reasons why he can't show up for you the way that you're showing up for him. Meanwhile, he still enjoys you showing up for him the way that you're showing up for him. He still receives and he still benefits off you showing up for him the way that you've been showing up for him. At some point, you got to draw a line in the sand. Am I speaking to anybody? Put amen. If I can get an amen, I don't know, somebody is getting what I'm giving. Somebody's picking up what I'm putting down. If I'm speaking to you, if I'm speaking truth, period, give me an amen. Somebody. Sarah, all right, Sarah, blessed, good. Somebody hear me. So you end up in a situation where it's like, dang, he likes me more than I like him. And that's where that whole mindset of, oh, a man got to like you more than you like him in order for the relationship to work. You just used to receiving half love from a man. So it feels like he has to have so much more in order for it to just equal out with you or equal out where you can be satisfied. No, when a man don't play about you, you don't need him to love you more. His 100% is always going to feel more than enough. Whether you love him more, and honestly, I'm going to be real with you, I honestly don't think it's possible for a man to outlove a woman who's truly in love. I don't. But I believe that if a man is truly serious about you, he's not playing about you. He sees the value that you add in his life for his life, not just for right now so he can be prepared for the next woman, but for his life. You're never going to miss out on the thing that you need. You can overlove him because you're naturally a nurturer and a lover as a woman. You're naturally more emotionally attuned. He's supposed to be more attuned for battle, war, protection, provision. You're supposed to be more attuned for the emotional quality of life, the validation piece. So really, a man ain't really supposed to be able to outlove a woman anyway. But here's the compliment. You don't need that. You don't need that. If a man is giving you his all, if he's 100% showing up to the fullest capacity that he has, adjusting along the way so he can specifically love you, you don't need a man to love you more. You just need him to love you right. Correct me if I'm wrong. You just need a man to love you correctly. You just need him to listen. You just need him to give his full effort. You just need him to not settle for bare minimum. That's what will leave, whether you love him more or not, that's what will leave you feeling unfulfilled and like you're more invested. And so when you get with a man and it feels like, oh, I'm doing too much. You get with a man and feel like I'm doing too much. No, you're with a man who's not doing enough. And the only reason why he's not doing enough is because he doesn't see enough in you. Because if a man sees enough in you, he'll go to the furthest extent. Y'all ever noticed, if you think back to your nightclub days, think to your homegirls, think to your life. When a man wants to impress a woman, he's just head in the clouds about her. Man, he'll spend money he ain't got. He'll take hours on the phone calling. If he really sees something of value in that woman, notice that I'm never making it about you being valuable enough, but rather does he see the value in you? There's certain things people are just not going to see in you. You can be the most colorful, vibrant person in the world. There are some people who are just colorblind. Doesn't make them bad people, but it is going to be a bad experience if you get with them expecting them to appreciate each and every layer that you come with. You got all of this, that, and the other going on. He's colorblind. There's no more vibrance you can give to this man to stop him from being colorblind. And so while you're with him, the experience is going to be, man, I'm doing too much. He don't like me as much as I like him. No, he don't even see you. His lenses are jacked up. His lenses are cracked, not you. It's like if you ever got somebody with a broken phone and they sitting there struggling to see the screen. If you ever got your own broken phone, they struggling to see the screen and whatever else. Meanwhile, it ain't that the apps don't work. The apps work just fine. They're on Instagram or something like that. Yeah, the Instagram, the messages coming, everything works on the app. The problem is the screen is jacked up. When you're dealing with a man whose screen is jacked up with his own addiction to his flesh, with his own ego and pride, with his own lack of priority and structure in his life. So even if he cared about you and cared about a relationship with you, he could never create the amount of space and investment needed to nurture that relationship into full strength and health. The screen is cracked. It ain't the apps. It ain't the phone functioning. It's the screen. He can't even see. It's not operating because of his screen. It's cracked, not because of you. So you getting with a dude and you're not assessing what's going on with the screen. Where are you at in managing that ego and that pride and all of the childhood traumas that you were supposed to heal from? Where are you at with that? Where exactly are you with the whole like variety? You know, as men, you know, we come into a season of our life right after puberty where we want all this variety and conquest. Have you overcome that, or is your screen still cracked? As a grown man, you still chasing behind and infatuated with options because you don't know how to settle down and invest in your choice. Where's your screen at? That's one of the best ways to save your time too. Get a hold of it. What is this man even looking through? Everybody want to tell you how to be sexier, how to lose some weight, how to wear the right dress, how to do your hair. No, what is he even seeing me through? You come jacked up physically, all that kind of stuff. If a man's screen is correct, he'll look right through to that beautiful heart of yours. He'll look right through and see that spirit and that energy and say, I got to have her. Yeah, I got to have her. And I got to secure her. I got to make sure she knows I'm the one that can keep her safe. Whatever she done been through, whoever she done been with, that's in the past. That one right there, that's me. That's me right there. And it don't matter if you in sweatpants. It don't matter if you got 6 children. And I've seen it for myself. It don't matter if you're 200 pounds or 130 or 220. If that man's screen is correct, if that man's screen ain't jacked up, if that man's screen in terms of what he's looking at you through has matured and evolved to understand it's not about a woman who's a good look, it's about a woman who's the right fit in his life to help him achieve his purpose, you ain't never gonna have to ask, oh, does he like me? Does he like you? You're gonna be willing to bet anything and everything that man will give his life for you. Dang if he like you or not. When a man is serious. And I'm saying all of this is like, again, I'm your big brother. So some of the stuff I'm gonna say is just like a brother. A lot of times we don't have enough tact, but we always come from a good place and we always gonna give you the truth, give you the real. Ain't that I figured everything out, but I do know some things are true from a man's perspective. And out of love, I'm telling you, if you are feeling more doubt about whether or not that man cares about you, then you're feeling overwhelmed, then you're feeling elated, then you're feeling relieved that you no longer have to go looking for this thing that you knew existed, but you never had in any other man. If what you're feeling most of the time is doubt and questions and fear of whether or not you're invested more than this man is invested in you, I'm here to tell you, that's a telltale sign, especially if you brought it to his attention. And he's giving you some, oh, I'm so busy, I'm so this, I'm so that. At best, he still has the broken screen of no priorities, no structure, no alignment in his life of what it is that he says that he wants. He says he wants relationship, and maybe he does, but he does not have the maturity to structure his life in a way where there's quality time made, not spared, where there's consistency and efforts to connect. He has not now aligned himself. Like there's a space in a man's development where he goes from just the conscious competence to the subconscious programming and that gap being closed so that they both align. I know that's a lot to get into. This is why I do the master classes. This is why for a certain number of people I allow to come into my mentorship community so I can personally break these things down with my different courses and teachings. But there's a space in a man's life where he starts out and he just has all of this conscious competence, if he even gets there. Yeah, some guys, honestly, they're going to be dragging their finger on each line that they read for the rest of their life. But you do have men who, on that figurative level, have the emotional intelligence necessary to know what should go on in a situation where, a man cares about a woman. Well, that's just step one. Then you have the programming and all the wiring from all the years he was on something else that now he has to redo and encounter and challenge so that gap closes. Because the longer that gap, the bigger that gap, the larger your misunderstanding or inability to know that man cares about you. And there's no doubt about it. Am I making sense to anybody? If I'm making sense, share this with somebody on your timeline. Share somebody right now is up stressing over, losing sleep over somebody's dusty son who's leaving them uncertain about whether or not she's too invested or doing too much. For everything that man has made you feel like is too much, there's another man who's been waiting, and it's just like, man, that's just enough. Oh, she like to text, she like to call, she want me to check in with her. She wanna know what's on my mind. If I ate today, she want to know that, man, that's what I've been looking for. Now I ain't got to hold back. It's so many men with so much love to give because they spent so many years as the lesser version of themselves. I can relate as a lesser version of themselves, chasing their flesh, chasing coping mechanisms. And now that they've evolved to a healthy version of themselves, they're not coming out here looking for a void to fill. They're looking for a woman's life that they can add to. And with that being said, now there's a whole new storage bin, a warehouse of love that we've never truly truly tapped into from a healthy place. And it's just been waiting to be given to somebody in a way that we ain't got to hold back. And there's a man out there who's been waiting to give you everything that he has to offer, where he ain't got to hold back no more. And meanwhile, you over there being convinced that everything that you got to offer a man is too much because you're with somebody who cannot reciprocate. I don't know if I'm talking to anybody. But if you ever been there before, put I down in the chat. You ever been there before where you wanted to write the love letters, you wanted to go on the dates, you wanted to go on the trips, you wanted to be the safe space, you wanted to talk about deep stuff, you wanted to have laughter, you wanted to connect throughout the day, you wanted him to check in and let you know that he's safe, and you wanted to be checked in on so that he knows that you're safe. You wanted to go there whenever he was sick. You wanted to create off days in advance so that both of y'all could connect if you were long distance or if you're right there in the same city. You wanted to align your schedules. You wanted to talk about what the wedding was going to be like whenever y'all finally got married without pushing or forcing the issue. You wanted to do all of that stuff, and you was made to feel like it's a little too much. You're pressing too hard. You're doing too much. Put I down in the chat if you've ever been there. So I know if I'm off base, and anybody watching this, hey, look, y'all know me. I'm all about accountability. I'm not perfect. If I am telling a lie, please tell me that I'm telling a lie. But if I'm speaking facts, all I ask you to do is to spread this so somebody else, hit the share button so somebody else can get a hold of this conversation. Because so many of y'all have been convinced that all of that love that you got to give is too much for somebody who has too little maturity and capacity to truly appreciate it. They were never meant for that. You got a gallon-sized love trying to pour it into a teaspoon. And because it's spilling on the floor, he's trying to tell you, you pouring too much. No, you just need to go get you a pitcher. You need to go. And that does exist. There's no reason for me to tell you about those guys who will play in your face, who will give you these excuses, who will gaslight you if there's not an alternative. Otherwise, it would be, sis, just get used to it. This is as good as it gets. Just go ahead and lower your expectations. No, the reasons why you should rise or should I say increase your expectations, not expectations. Actually, you should have zero expectations, high standards. The reason why you should continue to raise your standards and hold firm on those risen standards is because there are men out here who will gladly meet them. And if upon meeting you, they can't initially rise to the occasion because you're so much more than they ever fathomed could ever exist, which is possible, they're still in position to say, I will rise to the occasion. I'll get it done. Oh no, I'm not allowing my old habits, my old ways, my old friend circles, the old places that I used to go, the old ways that I used to think to stop me from receiving this blessing. Ain't happening. That's the difference between a man who truly loves you and cares about you and the man who don't. The man who don't, he gonna point at you as being the problem. The man who does, he gonna say, any part of me that's a problem, got to go. It got to go. I was just telling those that got a hold of my mentorship program recently, those that watched through to the end on my masterclass, the 7 traps no empath must ignore, or empath must never ignore. I was just teaching this lesson. So for those of y'all who don't know, I believe in the Bible. You ain't got to believe in the Bible. That's your business. But there is this misconception that submission is a one-way thing. And I'm going to give y'all a short version because I went in over there. But submission is actually mutual. In fact, God tells the man that a husband should love his wife as Jesus loved the church and gave his life for her, right? So a lot of people think that's so literal. Yeah, I'll jump in front of a bullet. And it's like, no. When a man is healthy, when a man cares about a woman, he will be sacrificial in terms of anything that compromises her safety. Anything that causes her doubt, which will compromise her safety emotionally. Anything that will compromise her safety in terms of stress, so financial resources, anything that would compromise or threaten your ability to know that you are secure here in my love, it got to go. That friend girl that occasionally like to blur lines and key a little bit too dang on much, got to go. Any lack of communication, because in the past when I communicated, it wasn't received well, that got to go. I got to open up my mouth now. I got to sacrifice that which is compromising my helpmate, my wife, my future wife's safety. And this was something I just got a hold of like the last probably 3 or 4 years. I just fully came to understand. But when a man truly cares about you, he's not going to point at you and say you the problem. He's going to identify, first off, he already has identified that you're the one that he wants, right? He's going to identify what your best interest is, the absolute best version of you is, the highest form of you, the properly loved version of you is, and anything that compromises that, it's got to go. That's the submission of a man. We don't talk enough about the submission of a man. It is actually submit one another as to the Lord. So it's not really a one-way thing. It's not as a woman, you just submit to a man. No, the man is also supposed to be not just submitted, but sacrificial. Again, I went in on that from my mentees, and that's a lot to unpack. I'm not trying to preach to nobody, but hey, the Bible is the truth, man. And it shows, it's so practical, because look at what we're dealing with here now. If you're dealing with a man that leaves you to question whether or not he's invested as much as you are, he's already allowed your safety, your security to be threatened. Now you doubting if you're doing too much. Now you doubting if you're moving too fast. Now you doubting if you want too much. Now you doubting whether or not you're worth as much as you thought you were. In any of those capacities, your security and safety on an emotional and mental level has already been threatened. And the wrong man for you is going to say, you're the reason why. You're the problem. The right man for you is going to say, let me self-audit. Let me look in the mirror. Not just at myself and my soul. Let me look at how I'm moving, the places I'm going, the way that I'm talking, the things that I'm not saying. Let me look at that. Because now that enemy against your certainty is my enemy. That's you see, a true protector knows it goes beyond just being ready to fight a grizzly bear and ward off an attacker in the middle of the night. A true protector says, no, I'm going to protect you from anything that's causing you harm. Internally, mentally, emotionally, financially, anything. Debt, gotta go. It gotta go. Questions about whether or not any woman has a chance with me, gotta go. What new boundaries do I need to put up with this woman and that woman? And I'm not talking from some pedestal. I've eaten the fruit of this wisdom both ways. Like, I know how it goes whenever a man does not take this seriously versus when a man wisens up, smartens up, grows up to understand what I'm saying is true. Ask any man that you respect about what I'm saying right now. He gonna vouch for it. I promise you. If he's respectable, he gonna vouch for it. You staying up all night stressed about something, about that job that don't appreciate you, underpay you, a man who truly cares about you is not gonna say you lazy. You want everything handed to you. He's already thinking of ways that he can retire you. He's already thinking of ways that he can shift the schedule around and stop hanging out with the boys as much or stop spending money on shoes as much, because he now got to start putting money away so his baby can have some sleep at night. There's no reason you should be dependent on a job that's killing you and deteriorating you when you got a whole man laying up beside you who has any free time in his schedule. They're really going to get mad at me now because it ain't about the money. A lot of guys, they hear that financial mantle that we have in a relationship with a woman, and they immediately think, oh, she wants a millionaire. No, she wants somebody that's not going to see her stressed out, stretched thin, and do nothing about it. And if at any point in time, you're not in position to do what you could do about it or what you think you want to do about it, she wants to see the conviction that you're willing to help and you're willing to make progress on that and you're willing to improve that situation, not point the finger at her. If you guys notice, there's a common theme here. And the man that cares about you and is invested in you versus the man that ain't. That's just taken from you. The man is just taken from you. In any situation where something needs to improve, he just looks at you and points the finger and tries to convince you that you're the problem. But a man who truly cares about you, he understands that he's not just a leader when it comes to making all the cool decisions and getting the big piece of chicken. He's also a leader. He's also on the forefront when it's time to make things right. He's also that leader. Let me tell you something. If you and your man are ever in conflict, ever having a tension in a relationship, it should never be you that starts that conversation to fix things. Ever. Ever. Now, if he's already tried and you shut him down, that's different. He's done his part. He's actually started the conversation. But those of y'all who are in relationships, things ain't right, and you the one that's having to come and fix things. You the one that's saying, let's talk. Can we talk? Hey, da-da-da-da. The only time that should happen is if that man literally has no idea that something is pressing on you. Okay, cool. But if y'all have a blow up, some type of misunderstanding that's causing some tension, some kind of wedge, you as a woman should not be the one to start that conversation, to open up that conversation. You're not the one that's supposed to do that. I know. And some people gonna listen to this and y'all don't believe in gender roles and a man is the same as a woman. I'm not him. This ain't the conversation for you. But for those of y'all who do believe that a man is supposed to be in his healthy masculine so that he can lead effectively and lead both of y'all to better situations every couple of years throughout your lives, whenever the conflict happens, that man is also supposed to be a leader. He can't be a leader whenever he's ready and whenever it's convenient for him. He got to be a leader when it's inconvenient too. Yeah, Lily. I know it's crazy, right? So with that being said, you will get left to think and question whether or not this man cares about you if you're always the one to try and bring y'all back together, to try and close up the gap between you, to try and heal and seal whatever the crack or whatever the rupture was in you guys' intimacy. If you're the one always doing that, I'm telling you right now, you are more invested in him. You are more invested, and you're wasting that investment. You're wasting that investment. Now, what do you do about it? You're more invested. You're this, that, and the other. The easy answer is, well, just fall back. Just stop caring. Just stop giving them energy. And honestly, it really is that simple, even though it's not that easy. But I'm going to tell you another step that you can take. Remember who you are. I used to have a little saying, remember who the F you are. But we're going to just keep it clean, even though it's late. Remember who you are. You see, once you remember who you are, and when you truly know who you are, there's certain things you can't tolerate. Like if you are the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, right? You can't work in any capacity or anything where somebody tries to treat you like the help. That don't mean that you're not humble. But somebody tries to talk down to you and act like, you just lack competence and anything like that. Nobody can really treat you like that. If you are a multi-million-dollar CEO and you go over to another company to try to help out, maybe kind of see what's wrong, you pull up with something like that. Let's say, for instance, you go to a McDonald's and you're trying to assess what exactly is going on in the operations that's less efficient than what it needs to be and all these different high-level things. And while you're there, you're letting them know, I'll help out. And the manager comes out with a stank attitude, throws you the mop and said, get to work. You can be like, hold on, wait. What? Get to work. You can be like, hold on, you know why that's going to be something that you don't tolerate? Because you know who you are. You're not, I don't know, some ex-con or some 15-year-old or somebody maybe just has a GED that's struggling and needing a job so desperately. You're not that. So why are they handing you this particular job to do in the way that they're doing, and the way that they're talking to you is like talking down to you when you have way more qualifications than them? It's like, hold on, who do you think you're talking to? Right? You know who you are. You know what you're capable of. You know your skill level. You know your value. And nothing about the way that they're treating you lines up with that. So now they are repulsive. There's no way you're staying in that situation long term. The same thing applies in interrelational, any capacity, relationships and connections. If you know who you are and you're that woman that deserves a man who knows that not only are you the prize, but you deserve a prize, when that man treats you like you're the downgrade, when that man tries to treat you like he's doing you a favor, it's like, hold on, wait, who do you think you can't be talking to me. I know you're not doing this with me. I know you're not waiting 6 hours to respond to my text message and thinking I'm going to still be yip yip hooray whenever you do hit me up. You can't. I know that ain't. I know that's not what we're doing. I know you ain't talking about let's go to my house. Let me get a bottle of hen and let's lay up at my house on the first, second, or third date. No, you can't be talking about me. You see, when you come from that identity, it's a completely different game changer. Tony Robbins, some of y'all have heard the name. He's the one that said The single most defining characteristic of the human personality is for us to remain consistent with who we believe we are. That means where you are in terms of your mind, your actual framework of who the F you are, that's the standard. That's the absolute minimum standard that somebody can meet in order to deal with you. And so if you're wondering, D, what do I do if I'm more invested? You have to now look within and say, wait. Am I that person that deserves to question where I stand in a man's life? And you have to establish this for yourself. I'm your big brother. I can only give you the game. I can only give you the truth. And you do with this what you will. But you have to be the one. It's kind of like, and I tell my mentees this, it's kind of like going to Home Depot. They got all the tools, but you got to be the one to do the work. You can only go to Home Depot and get the tools. They don't put all the fixtures in and install everything for you. You know, you getting the tools, but you got to do the work. And the work is you establishing and remembering who the F you are. That's the next thing that you do. And see, from who you are, you'll be fine being alone before you deal with somebody who tries to bring you back to the version of you that you've already outgrown. Can I get an amen? Is somebody that can relate? Can I get an amen? Somebody in the comments, if you can relate. When you really know who you are, you would rather be alone than in the company of somebody who's trying to drag you back to a version of you that you worked your behind off to outgrow, that you worked your behind off to heal from. When you truly establish who you are. Now, if you're struggling to establish who you are, there are tools, there are resources, there are all those things. But my guess is going to be that you're still struggling because you are an empath that's likely putting people before you. And that's all you ever know. Look out for them. Make sure they're good. And you see what the subconscious programming is of an empath is that at some point they're going to reciprocate. At some point, they're going to give that love back to me. At some point, because it just doesn't make sense for somebody to love, and just receive that love and not give love back. And there are different levels to empath. There are empaths who can set boundaries, empaths who can't. But let me say this, no matter where you are, if you've ever been an empath, there are certain things you got to beware of on this dating scene. We are in a day and age where there's a target on your back. If you have a big heart, if you love hard, if it's hard for you to start over, if you're reluctant to start over with somebody new, there is a target on your back. And that target is in the form of traps that will be set for you just because of the size of the heart and the size of the love that you have, just because of your spirit and how pure it is, just because of how good your heart is. There are traps that are being set for you so that those who have bad intentions can keep control over you once they get it. Even if they lose you, they can still live with, at least I killed her desire to be loved. At least I also prevented her from being functional in the next relationship because you're still in that trap. Now, I'm not going to go super in depth here because that's a whole other conversation. I actually just did a free masterclass breaking that down. The 7 traps as an empath you should never ignore. If you see a link right there, whether it's in the comments or at the bottom, click on that. It'll take you to register for free. And come on back to the conversation because you're going to want to watch that if you've ever been an empath. I'm telling you right now, a lot of empaths get caught in these traps, whether you're in the relationship with the guy now or you've left that guy and you're having a hard time going to the next guy and you don't know how to break this cycle. More than likely, it's because you don't know how to recognize the 7 traps. And there's actually more, but the 7 main ones you must never, ever, ever ignore. And again, that link, for those that are asking, that link is down here at the bottom. Or if you're on YouTube, look in the top left, right, whatever. Maybe it's like in blue or something like that. I don't know. It's also in my channel description, the caption description. But moral of the story is this. Men who care about you, men who are right for you, operate in certainty. We want you to know and have zero doubt whatsoever about where you stand and that you are safe. In the moment that we see that you have to question who we are, where we are with you, we take it as a personal offense. We take it as a personal offense. It's almost as offensive as you questioning our sexuality or if we were born a man, a male. It's like, hold on, what? That's the kind of reaction a man gets. if he even senses that you are in question about whether or not he's truly invested, whether or not he truly cares about you or loves you or likes you or wants something real with you. When a man does, that's the type of events. It's like, wait, what? You're not sure. Hold on. What is convoluting? What is confusing? What is making things gray area for you? Because we need to deal with that. You ain't even gonna get so far as to have to go to your homegirls or go to me or any book to get an answer on this. So when you find yourself feeling like you're doing too much, understand whatever you're doing, it's not too much. It's just being done for the wrong one. Hello, somebody. But those are just my thoughts. If I was able to give you some truth, if I dropped some type of gems, if I did something that was of value here in this conversation, put your money away. Put your money away. All I ask is that you share it. So you can bless somebody else who also needs to hear this. Somebody on your timeline, you'll be surprised, is up right now, like I said, stressing, crying, waiting for answers over somebody's dusty son who's leaving them on uncertainty. Be a blessing to them by hitting that share button so they can get the answers that they're really looking for. And again, if you are an empath or if you ever have been an empath, I highly encourage you, do yourself a favor before this masterclass comes down. Get access. The link is right here. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, if you're on Instagram or whatever, just whatever, follow the directions. I'm going to send the link to you. If you're on YouTube, it's at the top. It's also in the channel description. Get access to that free masterclass before it comes down. The 7 traps an empath should never ignore. And I'll let y'all be good. Peace.